All right, so before we get into this, bro, I just want to have a little chat with you, man. You know what I'm saying? Just want to have a little chat with you, man. Let me just put on some lo-fi hip-hop and them thing there, blood. This is my guy. Because normally when you put in lo-fi hip-hop, blood, it's not actually lo-fi hip-hop, but more times this channel right here, blood, you know what I'm saying, man, like steezy as fuck, blood, you get me? He provides with the beats, blood, you get me? 10 times out of 10 type of thing, you get me? Now, this is what I'm gonna be, ADIN versus Soul, blood. This is what I'll be kind of like, just giving my thoughts on, basically, blood, you know what I'm saying? I've watched like a multitude of different angles, but I've watched Your Rage, I've watched Flight Reacts, I've watched the Quan Wiltshire, I've watched Dante, I've watched Scum TK, I've watched Taekwondo, I've watched, you know, it's like I've watched bare people react to this right here, because at the end of the day, I'm like one of you guys. I started YouTube last year, blood, but before that I was watching all of these, man, type of thing, you get me? But yeah, I'm basically just gonna go in order of the videos, kind of pick certain points from each videos, blood, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, just go from there, blood, you know what I'm saying? So first you got SOLLUMINATI. Now SOLLUMINATI, I don't think anyone saw this coming at the end of the day, blood. If in terms of SOLLUMINATI being against what ADIN is doing or whatever, that is kind of like, you know, oh, no reason, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like you expect it, but you don't expect it at the same time, you know what I'm saying? Because him saying he don't agree with what ADIN's doing or the shit that he's getting into, it's kind of like, yeah, obviously, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of obvious. But in terms of him going at him, blood, that I did not expect whatsoever, blood. Now, when it comes to this video, blood, and also one thing I gotta say, blood, one, ADIN is a genuine guy, fam, you know what I'm saying? Two, do I watch him? I used to watch him when he used to do his big streams in his other houses, but that was when he was with certain people or like a certain type of artist, or when Zeus was on there. Because who the hell do you know that gets Zeus on their stream or on their platform? Zeus literally does a video, disappears for a year or two, comes back, bangs a million views, goes away, you know what I'm saying? So when he was getting Zeus onto his platform and beat, I was like, oh shit, this doesn't normally happen. The only time you see Zeus is when he, like, you know what I'm saying, does one of his reaction videos. So the fact that someone was actually bringing him onto their platform, I was like, oh, this is actually sick. So when Zeus was on there from time to time, I'd watch him, or a certain type of rapper, blood. But more time, I would never watch ADIN on his own, blood. I was always watching because of the other person that was there, type of thing. You know what I'm saying, blood? So this video right here, blood, you get me? Obviously, pretty much every single person understands the effect and what ADIN basically does, you know what I'm saying, and the extreme. Actually, no, I don't think people actually understand the extreme that it takes you to. They basically agree with SOLLUMINATI, but it's just the fact that when he's articulating himself, blood, he'd be stretching shit, blood. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, what he has to realize, if he is actually this spiritual soul guy, because at the end of the day, I treat the internet like the Avengers movies, fam. You don't know what the fuck is real, blood. So if he is actually this spiritual soul character, blood, you know what I'm saying, and he's actually staying true to himself, gay suck, you know what I'm saying, and that's actually him type of thing, he's got to understand that people will not have the same mindset that he does, blood. So when the mindset he has, when he, the stuff that computes in there, the stuff that he believes, the beliefs that he has, saying it to a normal regular day, but you know what I'm saying, it might not actually resonate, blood. So that's what I think he needs to understand, is that when he's talking to people, not necessarily has to dumb it down, but just choose his words wisely, blood. Because calling ADIN a predator, and you know what I'm saying he's the same as EDP and all that, seem like, come on now, fam. You know what I'm saying, that 1000% is a stretch, for the undertone message that is in there is 1000% true, blood. You know what I'm saying? Now, first of all, when SOLLUMINATI said, oh, he's making what do you call it, thousands and thousands of kids by Curious, I thought by Curious was like, you kinda, it's just like a thought process type of thing, because that's what Curious is. You see a curious figure over there, you're not going over to it, you're just curious, like, what is that type of thing, you know what I'm saying, blood? That's what I thought it was, but apparently it's actually like engaging in certain things type of thing, you get me, blood? And I ain't reacting to any of these videos, by the way, I'm just showing you what videos I'm talking on type of thing, you get me? But yeah, that's what I thought by Curious was, blood, but it actually means engaging in certain things. So I was like, okay, ADIN definitely ain't doing that, but at the end of the day, ADIN has an audience of, as SOLLUMINATI says, of squeakers, fam. You know what I'm saying, blood? Like kids that may not have engaged in sexual acts, still virgins, all of them thing there, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? So ADIN does this. This is what I don't understand, and this is what kinda messes with my head, blood. Yeah, so first of all, I grew up in I lived in Gambia from 2006 to 2014, which is a country in Africa, West Africa, blood. From my experience from 2006 to 2014 in Gambia, blood, there was no type of gay anything, no jokes, no gay person, whatever. So there's certain places in the world that this shit still doesn't exist, fam. You know what I'm saying? When there's a certain big change in the world, or when you have to come accepting to, you know what I'm saying, whether it's the LGBTQ or certain laws or whatever, blood, you can't expect the whole population of the world to be on the exact same mindset, blood. You know what I'm saying? Because countries are different, you know what I'm saying? Economies are different in terms of technological advancements and all of them things, their religions, all of that, blood. You get me? For example, when it comes to America and UK, the world is, those type of worlds are more accepting of people and certain things because the countries are so diverse. For example, my Gambia, I'm half Gambian. When I was living there from 2000 to 2014, 95% of the population are Muslim, blood. The rest of the 5% is other religions. So the whole population is all thinking pretty much on one type of mindset, you get me? Whereas when you come to a UK or America, you have Hindus, you have Muslims, you have Christians, you have all types of, you know what I'm saying, all mixing in, different cultures, different religions. So of course you're going to be diverse, but you can't expect every single, you know what I'm saying? So when it comes, this is what I don't understand about what Aiden does, because people just act like he's just making just regular random sus jokes and all of them thing there. Because I've 1000% made a sus joke back in school, you know, 1000%, but it wasn't on this guy's level, blood. You get me? I couldn't even repeat what I said because it was just such a, like, it wasn't nothing brazy, blood. You know what I'm saying? You know, like when your friend says something and you just say something slightly, you know what I'm saying? But that was high school, blood. That's because it was a trend. When I was in Gambia, I never used to do that type of ish, blood. You get me? Because it didn't exist. Then I come to England and now all of a sudden that's the culture, blood. You get me? So from 1000%, every week I probably made maybe one or two jokes or whatever, blood. Ever since then, ever since high school, no one does that anymore, blood. You know what I'm saying? Because it's childish, blood. You get me? So, blood, what I don't understand about people is they act like Aiden is basically just making any other high school type of gay type of joke type of thing. You know what I'm saying, blood? Bruv, it's brazy, blood. This guy is literally talking like Tiana Trump on a shoot, blood. Like, that's how mad this guy be talking, blood. For example, when SOLLUMINATI showed in his second video, when the bodybuilder, the 440, the 454 guy, or however much he weighed or whatever, family was like, oh yo, that's enough for you to pick me up. And but that's how Tiana Trump would be talking, blood. If he was on, you know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't no normal like such jokes, blood. Like, he takes it to the absolute extreme, randomly just twerking on it. You know what I'm saying, blood? Like, he literally takes it to the absolute extreme. So the fact that I look at people and he's like, oh, it's a joke, like, that is not a joke, fam. When I was making such jokes in high school from time to time, I was not going to that extreme, blood. Like, the guy is literally talking like he's about to, like, in the room, about to engage in certain acts, fam. It's actually brazy the extent he goes in, and I'm gonna keep on saying it. I don't think Aiden's a bad guy, you know what I'm saying? I just think he's very misguided, you know what I'm saying, blood? And he has a lot of maturing to do type of thing, fam, you know what I'm saying? But let's not act like Aiden's just making just some regular ass sus jokes. Like, the guy's moving absolutely brazy, and when you think of his audience, which are kids that have not engaged in certain things and don't understand certain things, blood, it is actually brazy, blood. Because I feel like when people put things into the internet, yeah, at the end of the day, I always say you can't be responsible on whose children, you can't be responsible on raising someone else's kids type of thing, but at the end of the day, you got to do your best to not influence them in certain ways. So for example, if you're in public, that's not my kid, fam, you know what I'm saying? So for example, swearing in front of a kid, blood, you know what I'm saying? You should be able to swear in front, because that's not your kid. You should expect the parents to be able to, you know what I'm saying, pattern their kids, because at the end of the day, the world throws so much BS at your kids. You should be able to kind of shield them from that, blood, you get me? Even though it can be quite a hard job, blood. But at the end of the day, you might be like, oh, I'm gonna swear, blood, that's not my kid, fam. The parent should be dealing with that type of thing, you get me? But in terms of a person like me, I wouldn't swear in front of that kid, because even though it's not my kid, I'm still gonna be like, oh, I don't want, you know what I'm saying, kids are easily influenced, I don't want him to hear me say certain things, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like that. The only way I can really put it into perspective is imagine if Aiden Ross's target audience was sitting in a stadium, and Aiden Ross was in the middle of that stadium, all his whole audience, all these kids watching him, and this guy was twerking, saying, oh, can you pick me up? And bro, this guy literally comes up with rhyme schemes of gay shit. Like, I don't know, bruv, it's not normal, man. let's not act like he's just making regular ass sus jokes and it's all normal and everyone did it at once upon a time. Like, nah, fam. This guy takes it to the absolute extreme, and that's what the problem is, fam. You know what I'm saying, blood? Because people say, oh, you can't turn anyone gay, but at the end of the day, blood, it's not like his target audience is 30, 40, 20, 25-year-olds who have it all figured out type of thing. Hundreds and thousands of people go in and out of Aiden's stream, blood. You don't know who you're influencing, blood, negative or positive. You know what I'm saying? You know when you watch them time travel films and they say that the littlest changes bring the biggest ripple effects, bro? You don't know what type of ripple effects you're bringing onto someone's lives, bro, by saying these things, by doing these things, bro. You got thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of kids going in and out your stream, in and out of stream. You're not with them after they leave your stream. You don't know what they're getting up to, bro, type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like if someone, for example, these kids that haven't engaged in all these sexual activities, are still virgins and all of them thing there, blood. If they haven't already have their mind set up about certain things and then Aiden's out here doing all these things, you don't know how you can influence. I'm not saying you are, because I don't think that he's really out here just turning every single kid gay. I don't believe that, blood. You get me, blood? But at the end of the day, you do not know, blood, because there's thousands of kids, blood, going in and out of your stream. You don't know what they're getting up to type of thing, fam. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's that video. And then we got what do you call it? Aiden Ross Illuminati response, blood. So we got the first response that it did, blood. The first response that it did, fam. You know what I'm saying? I remember this guy, blood. The first response that it did. Now, Aiden is a 21-year-old. He's a grown man, but this guy is severely underage in terms of mentality, blood. You get me, blood? Because Aiden, once again, I don't care who wins this, blood. You know what I'm saying? Sorry. Man's hot. I need to open my window, but now cars are all passing by and them thing there. I don't care who actually wins this, blood. Out of all of this, blood, I don't care who wins. I just want Aiden to basically realize what this guy is actually doing and the platform that he has, because I still don't think he's actually computed in his head like what this guy's actually capable of, the platform that he has at his fingertips and all of them thing there, blood. You know what I'm saying? But this video is a perfect video to show how immature and how underage mentality wise Aiden Ross is, blood. This guy literally sat there and could not argue with 1 point, blood. The only reason he won was because he literally just showed a brazy video that no one was expecting at the end of it, blood. But in terms of just take away the video and just him talking with SOLLUMINATI, blood, this guy did not debuttal, debunk, or was able to argue or debate not 1 point, bro. It was literally like, however, SOLLUMINATI is like a 27-year-old arguing with a 10-year-old, blood. The guy could not say absolutely anything. And then he eventually said, oh, SOLLUMINATI, how do you know that you're not a conspiracy theorist, blood? You're so Illuminati. Like, he was just saying dumb shit at the end. You know what I'm saying, blood, type of thing, fam. But that's how severely underage mentality-wise Aiden Ross is, blood. That's why I say he has to grow up, blood. For example, look how Zeus handled the situation. When SOLLUMINATI went at Zeus, blood, look how easily Zeus, not necessarily debunked him, but look how easily he argued his points, fam. Because when I was watching SOLLUMINATI's reaction to before Zeus reacted to that same video, you know what I'm saying, I was like, bro, there's so many points you could say about SOLLUMINATI to kind of not necessarily flip it, but kind of like debunk the points that he was trying to make type of thing, fam. You can actually, you know what I'm saying? But Aiden was just like dumbfounded. Zeus is a perfect example of how he was able to, how a grown man was able to deal with the situation verbally, blood. You get me? Aiden was literally just sitting there like a little kid, not knowing what the hell to do, blood. It's like, I don't know, SOLLUMINATI was speaking gibberish or something. And what annoys me about Aiden is the fact that he still hasn't taken accountability. Zia said he's taken accountability. No, he hasn't, because in this video, all he did was deflect, and deflect, blood. That's all he does, blood. He says his favorite lines: "You're late. He or she did it first, and I'm not the one that started it first." Those are his 3 best lines. A grown 20-year-old man, and those are his 3 points, fam. He did it first. I wasn't the first person to do it. He or she did it first, and you're too late. What do you mean you're too late? You're pat, bruv. Listen, fam. Listen, blood. Listen. This happened like a year ago, fam. You know what I'm saying? This happened a year ago, blood. You get me, fam? You're 21 now or whatever. You were 20 then, fam. It's not you're too late, blood. The only reason your point would actually work in terms of if you said too late is if you actually did take accountability and you did realize. But all man does is just throws people under the bus. Oh, I didn't do it first. Or, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't the first person to start it type. But that's not how the world works, my guy. If you get caught up with the police, fam, you know what I'm saying, and they're about to arrest you, blood, you saying, oh, he did it first, or he did, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't work in the real world, blood. You get me, fam? If you're late on rent, you know what I'm saying, you can't say, oh, that tenant down there, blood, you know what I'm saying, but she's the one that technically didn't pay first type of thing. You know what I'm saying? You can't do them type of things right there. That's not how the real world works, fam. You get me, blood? And that's what I'm saying. Aiden is literally a big man in a big man position, but with literally a kid's mentality, fam. It's actually kind of brazy, blood. I can't even lie to you. Like, I literally sat there. I was watching your rage, watch Aiden, and bruv, he literally couldn't say absolutely anything, blood. Like, the guy was dumbfounded. Those were just the 3 statements he had, blood. Back to back, fam. A grown ass man, fam. But the thing is, Aiden's a genuine guy, and I'm gonna keep on saying this, fam. I don't think Aiden means this maliciously or whatever, fam. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like he's just misguided or whatever you want to say, blood. You know what I'm saying, fam? But that was absolutely ridiculous with that video, blood. Then we go back to man like SOLLUMINATI. You know what I'm saying? Man like SOLLUMINATI, blood. What was the next video, blood, when he did that, blood? Was it this one? Oh yeah, it was this one right here, fam. Now this one was kind of brazy because I watched Aiden and watch Dante react to this, blood. So this moment right here with Bilu, at first I was like, oh damn, Bilu hung up on him, blah blah blah. He felt uncomfortable. Then I watched Dante's reaction, and then apparently he was saying that basically Bilu's cool with Aiden's behavior. He's kind of not necessarily cool with it, but or comfortable with it. But you know, he don't mind it type of thing. You know what I'm saying? He won't engage in it. You know what I'm saying? He's not really about that life, but he don't mind it at the end of the day. And even like kind of played on the joke at a later date type of thing, fam. You know what I'm saying? When he said something sticky glue, blah blah. But the rhyme scheme, the gay rhyme schemes, this guy comes up with off the top of his head, is absolutely ridiculous, fam. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so that one calm. For example, when you're making certain jokes with your friends that understand you, blood, so that I don't mind. It's when Aiden literally comes around, obviously with the Polo G or even the Julio, which didn't have anything to do with gay-ish, but still boundaries and just a mindset of knowing what to do and not what to do with certain people, fam. That's what I'm saying. The guy is still a little kid type of thing, fam. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the Bilu situation here, blood, calm. Bilu's cool with it, say less, blood. Now the bodybuilder, blood, or the security guard or whatever, blood, that, oh, would you put me up? You know, that right there, that is the biggest problem, blood. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what people's backgrounds are. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what people come from. You don't know what people are comfortable with, what they aren't comfortable with. So saying it with people that you absolutely don't know, that's where you're taking it too far. And then just doing it for the chat reaction type of thing. That's where it's like, okay, now you're actually moving mad type of thing, blood. You know what I'm saying? Because you know how it is with black people, with our religions, with, you know what I'm saying, our culture, all of them things. There are more times those type of issues still isn't accepting. And just because the world is how it is right now, you can't just expect the whole world to come on the exact same page as you, but you get me? Because the maddest thing about the whole LGBTQ thing is that they can have their certain mindset and ideologies about certain things, but now I can't have my own opinion. You can have your opinion, you can do what you want, but now I also have to have your opinion. I can't have my own. That's where the problem is, blood. You get me? Like that's the world, though. The world is just one big absolute double standard. You get me, fam? And it's kind of sad to see, but it's true though. That's literally what this world is. It's one big double standard, and that's where I feel like the problem is with Aiden, is when he does it with one, he does it with people that he doesn't know, and he takes it to the absolute extreme. This ain't not high school, just minor such jokes, but like this guy's literally talking like a female porn star, doing shit that a stripper, a female porn star would do, blood. Like this ain't just regular such jokes, fam. You get me, fam? And that's one thing. That's an American thing. Because over here, when you go into a UK streamer's stream, or you know what I'm saying, just the UK YouTube scene in general, you don't really have people making such jokes, because that shit it ain't funny, fam. You know what I'm saying? But like, you're a grown man. Like, if you really think about it, it's kind of like someone being a culture vulture, blood. You get me? For example, someone of a different race or a different culture using someone else's race or culture for their own benefit and gain, knowing that they don't give a fuck about that race or culture. That's basically what Aiden's doing. He's a culture vulture. He's using gay-ish to basically get views, get money, blood, entertaining them thing there, but he's not actually gay, blood. The same thing as being a culture vulture, blood. You get me? Literally the exact same thing, fam. The exact same thing, blood. You know what I'm saying? Now, next one, blood. I don't, Aiden even make a response to this, but I don't even know, but I didn't even care, blood, because Aiden's literally, as I said, it's like a 27-year-old arguing with a 10-year-old. After I saw that first reaction, blood, I wasn't about to watch him a second time, fam. You know what I'm saying, blood? So I can't remember what video came after this one, blood. Which video? Oh yeah, this one right here. That whole email copyright thing. I think we all know that was fake, fam. The email did look hella fake and them thing there, fam. You know what I'm saying? We can't even lie. And then it was this seafood gameplay, blood. Realistically, this one, I feel like he was literally just toying around, that type of thing, fam. Like literally, I feel like he was being serious at the same time, but he was fully just toying around, fam. Now the next big video was this one right here, blood. This was the next big video, blood, type of thing, fam. You know what I'm saying? That came out and that, blood. Now shout out Bilu, blood. I don't even think Bilu really wanted to even be in here, but at the end of the SOLLUMINATI, he mentioned his name by calling the reactions fake. But he shouted out Bilu though. He said, yo, Bilu, that's my guy. You know what I'm saying? All of them things there, blood. But when you say the reactions are fake, you kind of calling them out. And Bilu and Njies are literally like this, fam. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you'll ever see these men break up, have any type of altercation type of thing. Because one, Bilu's a genuine guy. Njies, same thing, blood. And that's the thing, blood. I actually rate everyone here, blood. You know what I'm saying? I watch everyone here. I rate everyone here, probably except for Aiden. I don't watch Aiden now. You know what I mean? As I said, I used to when he was on the stream with certain people, but now I don't really watch him type of thing. But fam, I don't know why all these men are beefing, blood. It's kind of pointless, fam. To be honest, but if we're all being honest with ourselves, so at the end of the day, no one's gonna fall off, no one's gonna lose subscribers, no one's really getting exposed. I mean, SOLLUMINATI kind of did, you know what I'm saying? But points on this video, blood. How long have I made this, by the way? Because I know this is hella long right now. Yeah, 20 minutes. But points on this video, blood. So when the video opened, or the video started, fam, they said they had no beef, all of them things there, blah blah blah. Don't take SOLLUMINATI serious. And then I think that well, I can't remember like in order what all the points were, but I'm gonna just like pick things out of this video that I kind of agreed with and didn't agree with. Now, number two, how Njies handled this situation is how a grown man is supposed to handle this situation. Aiden is a grown man, fam. Once again, Njies literally called Aiden a kid. Aiden's not a kid, fam. Aiden's not a kid. The guy's literally a multi-millionaire. You know what I'm saying? I didn't forget about that. The kid, he's 21. He's 21, blood. That's a grown man. First of all. Number two, you add on the fact that this guy's a multi-millionaire making millions, playing his own rent, blood. He's responsible for, I'm sure, a multitude of people, whether it's his family, whether it's his team, all of them things like that. He's a grown man, fam. He's not no kid, bro. He might be immature, but he's an immature man, fam. You know what I'm saying, blood? Like, let's be honest here, blood. You get me? Like, the guy's a grown man. His mentality just might be, you know what I'm saying, behind a couple of years or a few years or whatever. So that's the first thing, blood. Aiden was 1,000% a grown man. Number two, how he handled this situation is a perfect demonstration of how a man's supposed to handle his business, bro. Because like I said, when Aiden did his first reaction to SOLLUMINATI, it was like a 27-year-old versus a 10-year-old, bro. Aiden literally couldn't say absolutely anything, fam. He was literally just sitting there, bro, just getting absolutely pummeled. And then at the end, obviously, he released that video that no one expected, so he won the beef. Once again, I don't care who won. I just want Aiden to realize what he actually, the platform that he has and what he's actually doing, blood. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like Aiden still don't realize what he's actually doing. He's just mindlessly doing shit, blood. Not realizing the impact that it can actually have or is having. You get me? But the way Njies handled it, absolutely perfect, fam. It's two men going at it verbally type of thing, blood. Debunked his points and them thing there, blood. You know what I'm saying? Questioned certain things, blood. Kinda, even the thing where, what do you call it? Where basically SOLLUMINATI was saying, oh, he was a kid, he was this, he was that, fam. At the end of the day, blood, you know wrong from right, blood. No one was out here doing what SOLLUMINATI was doing. Njies literally argued that perfectly, but you get me? And then number two, there was one point that Njies literally made in this video, blood. I was like, nah, I don't really agree with that type of thing, fam. And I actually can't remember what it is, blood. Obviously the kid thing, yeah. Can't remember, blood. 1 minute. Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't even have to literally go through the video, blood. I literally paused it or don't pause it. It was the point where Njies basically said what SOLLUMINATI did in that video was worse than what Aiden did, blood. You know what I'm saying? That is not the case. As we said, fam, SOLLUMINATI, I don't think it was 12 either, blood. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he was dragging it with the 12-ish. I feel like he was like mid-teens or whatever, blood. You get me? And I didn't look at the video. Literally, that first like few seconds that Aiden had, That's literally all I watched. I didn't go look for the video and try. Like, I wasn't trying to see that, fam. You know what I'm saying? But I don't really care to see all of that because once again, I'm not that. Obviously, I'm making a video in it and just, you know what I'm saying, view my points and them thing there. But I don't care to it to where I'm taking sides and I need to go look at this video and compare. You know what I'm saying? But no, it's not that deep. I'm just literally just spewing my thoughts and them thing there because I've watched so many different people, you know what I'm saying, speak their mind. I have a platform as well, bloody. It might be a small one, but let me speak my mind as well. But that was the point. SOLLUMINATI, he was a kid, fam. His mind wouldn't develop. If you look at him then compared to now, fam, he's, you know what I'm saying, the guy's matured, fam, like a lot, blood. You get me, blood. But yeah, the fact that he was saying that what SOLLUMINATI did in the video was worse than ADIN is not the case whatsoever, because when it comes to ADIN, blood, he's a grown ass man, fam. The guy's mind is fully developed. He's out here making absolute, you know what I'm saying, brazy, blood. You know what I'm saying? The guy's been through some shit, I'm sure. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's through the business world, blood, or just in his past or whatever, fam. Like, he's a grown man doing this type of issue. And once again, he's not making no regular sus jokes, fam. Like, the guy's literally talking like a porn star, blood. On set, blood. Literally acting like a stripper type of thing. Like, that ain't no regular sus jokes, blood. You get me, fam? Like, come on now, man. Coming up with brazy, what do you call it, gay rhyme schemes and all of them things. Like, it's actually crazy what the guy thinking, but that's one thing, blood. It's definitely not the same, blood. What ADIN's doing is definitely worse, because at least, you know what I'm saying, what do you call it, SOLLUMINATI grew out of that. ADIN's literally a grown man that still doesn't realize the effect that he's having on the platform that he has in his hands type of thing. You get me? And then what do you call it? Oh yeah, the Zia situation, blood, with ADIN sitting on his lap and all of them thing there, fam. That's when basically SOLLUMINATI dropped his last video and all of them thing there, which I definitely agree with Zia in terms of you shouldn't have beat him up, blood, because that literally would have achieved absolutely nothing. Obviously, I saw Duke Dennis's reaction. He was like, yeah, he would have slapped the shit out of ADIN type of thing, fam. But yeah, there was no reason to kind of like beat him up or, you know what I'm saying, do any badness to him, blood. Because once again, from the internet, I treat the internet like the Avengers movies, but I don't know what the hell is real. So that prank could have been fake. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, blood. Is what it is type of thing, fam. You know what I'm saying? Why the hell does this keep on happening, fam? Yeah, it was a brazy situation, but the way he has handled it calm, and the fact that he was saying that, oh yeah, the reason why I was kind of messing with his sister is because of that situation. I was like, yo, that's kind of brazy, blood. But just to ADIN in general. Oh yeah, and also there was another point as well where Zia said, oh, we've been talked to him type of shit. We've been talked to ADIN, blood. That right there, I don't think you man have, blood. Because for example, a couple of years ago, I was like unemployed for like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 months type of thing, you know what I'm saying, blood. And my cousin never talked to me in a certain time. It wasn't like being aggressive or anything, but he literally like sat me down and gave me like a reality check type of thing, because I kept on pivoting. I left school, I went to apprenticeship, left the apprenticeship, went and did football, left football, then came and did YouTube basically, blood. So he was seeing all of this pivoting, and he basically sat me down and basically said, yo, you're 20, 21 right now, fam, type of thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty much the same age as ADIN, ADIN. You're 20, 21, fam. You're constantly pivoting with your career and all of them thing there. You really need to buckle down and find like a way to actually make money, blood. Because when you're 20, 25, fam, the world is not going to be easy on you type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, your time is running out, blood. Like, he was having a proper talk with me, blood. Never talked to me like this before, blood, but gave me like a real manly check, blood. You know what I'm saying, fam? Like, yo, the world is like really about to get rough on you type of thing. If you don't actually like pattern up and really get to, you know what I'm saying, buckle down, really start to make some real money and find the actual craft, not this all working at this job then for minimum wage. Like, really find the actual money maker type of thing, fam. You know what I'm saying? Especially on us black men, fam. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing in terms of why I think ADIN's not mature. As a black man, fam, when your skin's this colour, fam, I feel like you have to mature at such a fast rate in this world, blood. ADIN literally is the king of his own empire. He has his own absolute entity and all of them thing there, fam. You know what I'm saying? So he can afford to make these type of mistakes, blood, because he is his own boss, blood. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like when you're also black or whatever, you have to, you know what I'm saying? Like, for example, when you're white or another race in them thing there, blood. For example, in like America, blood, you might have like the sex talk or whatever at a certain age or whatever, but when you're black, fam, now it's like it's the police brutality talk, blood. How to move when you're like a kid. or how to move when you're around the policeman, or don't do this, you know what I'm saying, answer with yes sir, blood, don't be aggressive, don't do this because this and that, you know what I'm saying. Like on people like with my skin color, blood, you do have to mature at a much faster rate, blood, than other races and them thing there, blood, you get me. And that's a fact, fam. So when my cousin had this talk with me, I was like, okay, that's the kind of talk that Aiden needs, because I don't think these man really talk to Aiden like that, blood, like a proper man. I feel like these just like, yo Aiden, you need to pattern up type of thing, like yo you can't, like I feel like that's how they were talking to him, like a little kid, like bruv, this is a mano, blood, like talk to him like a man, slap him even if he's like not computing what you're actually saying, because I don't think anyone's really had like a proper manly talk with him, blood, like really put shit into perspective in his head, because he's still, people keep saying he's taking accountability. No, he hasn't. All he does is just throws people under the bus and deflect and say, oh, he did it first, or I didn't start it, blood, or you too late, blood, or this was last year, blood, like they were talking about 20 years ago or a decade ago, like, you know what I'm saying, blood. He still definitely has not taken accountability, and that's why I think the talks that these men have been having have not had an effect, or they're not talking in such a way that he's actually computing what these men are saying. You know what I'm saying? I feel like these men were talking to him in some soft ass tone, blood, in any blase way, blood. Like I don't think anyone's had a proper manly talk with him, blood. You know what I'm saying? You get me? Like really put shit into check with him. You get me? So that's one thing, because everyone's been saying, oh, we talked to him. If you've talked to him, why the hell is he still engaging in this ish, blood? You get me? Because he's, let's be honest, blood, he's not fully out of that phase, blood. He still makes social jokes, blood. Even with when Rage was speaking to him on stream, and Rage was like, oh, Aiden's literally about to have like a big ass like guest on his stream in a couple of weeks or months or whatever, fam. And when Rage was asking Aiden, oh, what you gonna do with him, and Aiden was like, oh, I'm gonna act suspect. You know what I'm saying? So he's still not out of that phase. He's still fully well in it. That's why your man's talks have been having fuck all effect, blood. You get me? Like that's what I'm saying, blood. Like someone really needs to like G-check the guy. You know when someone gets G-checked, blood? That's what needs to happen with Aiden. Like someone really needs to G-check him, blood, on some real shit, blood. You get me? Because that's the only way I feel like he can compute, blood, because he's not gonna get there on his own. This guy's already way too far behind, fam. Once again, Aiden's a great guy, blood. You get me? He's a genuine guy. It's just certain things that he does that are just, it's not even like it's childish no more. It's like why are you doing that, fam? You get me, blood? So like, he really needs to get G-checked, like on a real thing. He properly needs to get G-checked, fam. You know what I'm saying? And realize the platform that this guy absolutely has in his hands, blood. Like he's one of the biggest entertainers, TV, music industry, acting industry, blood, Twitch, YouTube, bro. He's one of the biggest entertainers in the world, blood. Like, you know what that comes with, blood? Like that's what I feel like he actually doesn't realize, blood. You get me? And he doesn't realize the effects, because I feel like he still thinks that he's just making like a couple of innocent jokes, blood. Like if you were making a couple of innocent jokes, why have you been checked so many times, blood? SOLLUMINATI, DJ Ghost, Polo G, Julio. If this guy was just if it really was a joke, and the sus jokes that he was making were just, oh, it's just a joke type of thing, fam. You know what I'm saying? Why has he been checked so many times by so many people, blood? I made a couple of sus jokes in school before, fam. You know what I'm saying? For a fact, fam. You get me, blood? I never got G-checked by someone. I never had someone, you know what I'm saying, come talk to me and be like, yo, you need to pattern up, or you demasculate. You know what I'm saying, blood? So obviously, what he's doing is at an extreme, blood, because you don't, bro, what Aiden's doing, you don't normally see that. Like I said, the guy literally talks like a porn star, fam. That is not normal. The guy literally acts like a female stripper, blood, on street. That is not normal, blood. I wasn't doing that in school, blood. No one was doing that in school, fam. It's not normal. Like Aiden's the only person that I've seen take it to absolute this extreme on the internet, blood. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now, fam. Come on now, people, blood. You get me? And that's what I just want Aiden to do throughout this whole thing. I don't care who wins. No one's going to lose any views. No one's going to use any flans. No one's going to lose any clout. You know, no one's going to fall off. No one's really getting exposed, blood. All I want from this situation is just Aiden to just really realize the capabilities that he has at his fingertips, blood, at the end of the day, blood. Like, come on, look at your demographic, blood. We know for a fact, blood, you know what I'm saying, like, more than 50% of them niggas is probably, you know what I'm saying, what do you call it? More than 50% of your audience, blood, are little kids, fam. Because more times when you speak to adults, blood, none of my friends watch Aiden. I feel like even when there was only one friend that I had, even at the time that he was pulling 100, 200, bringing rappers on the stream, there was only one friend that I knew that was actually watching him, blood. You know what I'm saying? Like, big people don't find that funny, blood. You know what I'm saying, blood? It's just kind of, there's a point where it's like, okay, it's enough now. It's enough now, blood. Like, your whole get up, like the whole main reason people knew you was because of the sus jokes, because he brought Hamlins into the situation type of thing, fam. You know what I'm saying? He literally brought Hamlins into the situation, and he was like, oh, Hamlins started it first. But that's the thing, when Hamlins was popping, blood, no one was talking about the sus jokes because the guy was great at the game, blood. You get me? Like, I remember when Hamlins was popping, people used to watch him. Fortnite was the biggest game worldwide type of thing, so people were watching Hamlins. I used to watch Hamlins, fam. You know what I'm saying? But the main reason why people were talking, like, oh, yo, he's good at the game, blood. You get me? No one really talked about the sus issue, but the fact is, like, 80 to 90% of what you bring to the table is the susness split. You know what I'm saying? With Hamlins, it's kind of like, for example, the reason why I was able to tolerate you when you came onto the stream with other people is because those people weren't bringing that same sus energy, blood. You know what I'm saying? They were bringing a different side. So it's like, calm. I'm watching ADIN stream, but I'm not watching him because of his sus jokes. I'm bringing because he's bringing other people onto the channel. And now they're talking about different things. They're doing what do you call it? They're doing freestyles and all of them things there. But even ADIN with his freestyles, but that's another thing. ADIN with his freestyles, it was actually kind of good as well. You know what I'm saying? It was improving, blood. All the moments with AMP and all, you know what I'm saying, fam? Like, people coming onto the stream, it changed the dynamic of the stream. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I was watching. But just ADIN won up, just him on his ones, or just him with his friends. Like, I wasn't really interested, to be honest. I can't even lie to you. But Hamlins, he brought different aspects to his entertainment. 80 to 90% of the reason why people know you and the reason why you are where you are, blood, you know what I'm saying, is because of the socials. I don't know how long you've been doing it. I don't know if it's been like absolutely forever. I don't know, blood. But that's one of the main reasons. If I ask, oh, yo, do you know ADIN Ross? Oh, yeah, sus jokes. ADIN Ross, sus joke. ADIN Ross, sus joke. ADIN Ross, sus joke. Like, yeah, that's all people knew you for. You're just acting gay, blood. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the problem is, fam. And it's a dangerous place to be in, fam, because at the end of the day, like you say, you're technically not gay, blood. Like, if someone said, oh, yeah, ADIN's actually gay, I wouldn't be surprised at all, fam. You know what I'm saying? Because someone that acts as gay as you is like, you know what I'm saying, blood? Like, come on now, fam. Like, come on now, blood. Someone making a one such joke and saying, oh, no, I'm not actually gay. But what ADIN does, like I said, talking like a female porn star, blood, doing ish that a stripper does, blood, taking ish to the absolute extreme and then turning around and say, oh, yo, I'm not gay though. It's actually kind of mind-boggling. I can't lie to you, blood, because no one does what you does. Even your rage sometimes, blood, he be wilding out, fam. You know what I'm saying? But he still doesn't take it to the extreme as you do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on now, man. Come on now, man. What was I even just saying though? I can't even remember. But yeah, man, I think I'm gonna just end it there though, because that's all I want ADIN to do, blood. Just realize what he has at his fingertips type of thing, fam. You know what I'm saying? That's all, man. That's all I want him to realize, what he has at his fingertips, fam, and realize the impact that he has. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, he's a genuine guy, fam, but he just has a lot of growing up to do, blood. You know what I'm saying? A lot of growing up to do, but yeah, man. It's your boy Njies, and I'm out here, fam. Shout out ADIN though, blood. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully he can like fully leave this ish behind, because he's getting old now. No one really cares anymore, man. You know what I'm saying, about all this ish. I don't even think, like, well, Twitch streamers are still engaging in that kind of activity, but I don't think it's as OP as it used to be, man. But I'll catch you on the next one, man. It's your boy Njies, and I'm out here.